Welcome back, everybody, to the Nosebleeds podcast. I am Chris Witt, and with me, as always, is Mr. Adam Schmidt. Adam, how are you today, sir?
Couldn't be better. How are you?
I am fantastic because we have the man, the myth, and the legend all on one computer screen with us. And that's Mr. Andre Edwards. Andre Edwards, how are you today?
Quite well, boys. Quite well. It is the day before Thanksgiving, and I've sufficiently stretched out my stomach so that we can consume as much food as humanly possible tomorrow.
Everybody, that's a key. Like it's key to eat a lot the 2 days before Thanksgiving because everybody's like, oh, I don't want to eat too much so I can eat a lot. No, you got to stretch that
Gotta
stomach out.
stretch it out. Gotta
It's like
stretch it
training
out.
for a marathon.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So if Andre's with us, you know what we're getting into today. It's Bengals talk. It's the bye week. Well, last weekend was the bye week. We're coming into the week after the bye, but Andre's going to come on. We're going to talk a little bit. What are they? 4-6, 4-7,
Seven.
4-7.
4-7.
Uh, and we're gonna talk some Bengals. But before we do that, before we get into the Bengals, Andre, the crosstown shootout's coming up. It's we talked before we got on here. It's the only reason I'm doing this. I get all excited at the crosstown shootout since I was a child. When UC's number one in the country year after year after year, and I'm just a lowly Xavier fan, one of three in my entire school. And I just get hounded. And I made so much money betting little 7 and 10-year-olds back in grade school. I just want to know what are we gonna do for this? What are we gonna do? What kind of bet we gonna make on a crosstown shootout this year?
It's a good question. I think, how about this? Whoever loses has to, when the next time we come on a pod, you're decked out in the opposite team's t-shirt and hat.
T-shirt and hat.
T-shirt and hat.
I'm 100% in.
On your own dime. Not that you borrowed.
Oh,
You have to actually go out, spend your own money to purchase the opposite team's gear.
Yeah,
that's what the punishment is.
The punishment is giving money to UC. I get it, but
T-shirt and hat.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Feel pretty safe with all my Xavier stuff that's in the closet right now. I feel like there's not gonna be too much red and black sitting next to it, but we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. I can always buy it, wear it one time, gift it to somebody. I got no problem with that.
Send
I
it
got
right
no
to
problem with
them.
that. I'll send it over to you. You wear XL? What size hat you wear? What size you snapback guy?
Oh, snapback, man. Snapback all day.
Snapback. All right. We get snapback and we'll get I send it right back out to the Westchester right afterwards. But I'd have to lose in order to do that. So maybe next year I'll have that. It's been a while. I feel like
forever, bro.
I feel like if you guys win this year, I would almost be happy because it would feel like a rivalry again.
Yeah,
We
I
stopped
think it's,
playing Dayton
like
because they
as
couldn't
much
beat
as
us.
we laugh and joke around, like it has lost some of its luster from a competitive standpoint. I think UC has gone through some coaching transitions. Brandon, in my very humble opinion, was a terrible hire. And that really set the program back a couple, 2, 3 years. I am excited about Wes Miller and what he brings to the table, but it takes a couple of years before you can really start to establish a program and get things in. So you figure 2 years lost to Brandon, a couple, 2, 3 years of Wes getting his people the way he wants it and setting the program. I mean, that's 5 or 6 years of like, kind of basketball, And as big of a rivalry as the crosstown shootout is for this city, you got to have talent on your team in order to really compete. And UC just didn't have the talent to compete as much as I wanted them to win and as much as I was excited about the game and all those things because I've been, a Bearcat fan since I was preteen. But if you don't have the talent to compete in that game, you don't have a shot. And so I think this year is probably the first time in a long time that I feel like, all right, we may not necessarily win, but I feel like we got a shot given the talent that's on that court.
And that's the best part. I would like to see a game, a 1-2 score game with a minute left. Give me that. I'm happy.
Yeah.
Give me that.
Agreed. Agreed.
I don't want it a 15-point game with a minute left and you're like, praying for a couple threes that get knocked down so you got a chance to get in.
Right.
I like to, let's stretch this last minute into 25 minutes and let's have some fun. My wife's
Absolutely.
favorite part about football and basketball is there's a minute left on the clock. And I'm like, there's only a minute left, babe. Minute left. Just let me watch this. It's a tie game.
I'll be there in 25 minutes.
Yeah, she knows if I say it's a tie game or one score game, that means this game just got carried out another 20, 25 minutes.
She learned to look at how many timeouts each team has left.
Hey, that's marriage growth right there. That's what that is.
Right.
Amen. Amen. She's actually upstairs watching the game with my son on the couch right now since I'm not up there. So that's real growth. She's
Holding it down. Somebody's got to hold it
choosing
down.
to watch it.
You're out here tomfoolery and shenanigans. Somebody's got to do some real business.
Yeah. All right. Well, all right. That sounds good. I got no problem. Well, I would love to see you in some X gear. It would. I mean, that's
Rough.
That's about as good as it gets right there.
That's rough.
Either way, we'll do it. I'm in for it. We'll do that straight up. I'm not giving you any points, so don't ask for any points.
What's going to be even better is whichever one of you is in that gear, there's a chance that you also might be singing in that gear as well.
Oh, that is true. Does that mean that we're both in last and second last place right now?
I'll start with the update.
Let's do it. Give us the update,
So
Adam.
far,
It's not good. I can tell you that.
None of us are good.
Yeah. We
Adam even had him with a winning record this year. I mean, geez.
Their loss total has surpassed all of us. But correct picks wise, Andre has 4, Chris has 5, I have 6. So we're all still within a couple of games here. So I mean, I could still lose this.
What's the big game? Where are the big games where everybody's different, where there's something different?
So let's see. Dallas on the 9th. Chris is the only one with a win.
Yes. That's huge.
You know what?
Although Cooper Rush looked pretty good the other day.
We all have the same thing besides that.
So I have a chance.
So
I can tie for first.
You can, yes.
Maybe, sort of.
Yeah.
I could possibly tie for first, which would mean Andre may have to sing 2 years in a row.
Oh,
however,
it'd be so good
if they win that game. No, if they lose that game, me and Andre would tie. Oh man, flip of the coin? What is it? Flip? What do we do?
The tiebreaker is the total record.
Oh, then I'm done.
Andre, between the two of you has the tiebreaker.
Oh, so good.
My,
this is a miserable
my
season.
positivity is gonna
miserable
kill me again.
Miserable.
Big day on 12-9 Monday Night Football against Dallas.
We'll be chatting, buddy. I'm gonna get the group chat going. I'll get the group chat going.
What's the date of the crosstown shootout? Do you know?
Saturday the 12th.
Okay.
No,
they're close.
no, not the 12th. The
after that, the Saturday.
It's a Saturday after the night. Yeah, whatever that is.
Gotcha. Okay. So
I used to have that like embedded in my head as soon as the schedule came out, but anymore it's just like, oh, who do we got? Sienna? Oh no, it's UC. My bad.
So that'll be a big week for you guys for sure. Okay. So let's start. Bengals so far 4-7 on the year. 14th. Got it. 4-7 on the year. Offenses look pretty good. Defense hasn't looked so good. That's the general stuff. Let's get into kind of the details about why they're 4-7. If there are particular games that really stand out to you, let's talk about those. They've been close games. They've just about every game is
with the exception of the Philly game.
Yeah. So what is it about this team? Maybe we'll start there, that they are in close games and not pulling them out most of the time.
So I think for me, there's a couple of things. One, defensively, you only have one real stopper, right? And that's Trey Hendrickson.
Mm-hmm.
And if another team can find a way to neutralize Trey Hendrickson, there is nobody else on that team that you feel you need to prepare for. There's none of the defensive tackles. BJ Hill's a nice player, but you're not game planning to stop BJ Hill. I think the same about Pratt and Logan Wilson. Those are two nice linebackers, but you're not game planning. They're not changing your entire game plan. They're not Roquan Smith out there making a billion tackles and blitzing from the linebacker position and messing up your scheme and whatever. And then clearly the secondary is, quite frankly, outside of Mike Hilton, pretty trash.
Yeah, and you, just like you just said, outside of Mike Hilton, who also is probably your second best rusher of the quarterback.
Yes, right.
So
Correct.
So you got to make a decision. Do we want to be able to cover somebody, or do we want to put a little extra pressure on the quarterback? And you're handcuffed either way.
Correct. And so I think one, that's a big piece. You don't have anybody who can come up with that key stop at the end of a game when the other team needs a field goal or when the other team needs some sort of score in order to either solidify the win or take the lead type of deal. And then I think, as much as I think everybody loves him, reveres him, thinks he's the greatest thing since sliced bread, Joe Burrow hasn't come up in the clutch a couple of times when it comes down to it. I mean, he was terrible in the New England game. That should be a game he should win with his eyes closed and one hand tied behind his back. And they scored 10 points. Like, that team is terrible. And there have been a handful of times throughout the season where he's had a drive or two to either put away the game or come back and take the lead, and hasn't been able to do it for whatever reason, right? And yes, it's unfair to say it's one person's fault, but when it comes down to it, they pay you $275 million to be the man. And for all the greatness that you are and all the great things that you do, sometimes you got to tug on Superman's cape every once in a while and be like, you didn't get the job done. And I mean, look at the game 2 weeks ago. He had 2 drives. He led them to 2 field goal opportunities that they missed. But if those are touchdowns, that game's over, right? Mm-hmm. You look at that first New England game. You look at the Kansas City game. He had an opportunity at the end of that game to put it away and didn't do it. So when it comes down to one score games, you have to have Joe be superhuman because our margin for error is just too small.
So let me ask you this. So the New England game, Joe didn't play in the preseason, right? Barely at all. I don't even know. What did he play? He played in two of the 3 games.
Series. He played
a couple series, but never look good in preseason. He never looked like he was in a role in preseason. That was basically that's a tough game for a guy that's just coming off injury. His hand still wasn't even 100%. You could still see it. I get
maybe.
I know. I get the New England game.
He was pretty legit. So I don't know that a week changes all that much of who you are and what you can do. I just think they played like trash that first game, and that's super unfortunate. If you can't put up more than 10 points versus New England, I don't care if your arm is falling off. It's just not, you can't do that. You have to come up with something better.
Right. So here, my question to you though is, Joe early on in the season was taking it on himself. It's, me, I got to do better. I have to do better for the first 3-4 games. Kansas City comes down. They can't drive. They had 2 chances to go down in the Kansas City game before Kansas City hits that field goal. So to put the game away.
Yes.
So my question to you is, everybody comes out and starts talking about, and I think it's to your point of, everybody just loves Joe Burrow so much that it's automatically the head coach's fault because he's calling the plays. Oh, well, let me tell you, this has been because I'm on your side on this. This is what I've been telling everybody. That the play calling at the end of the game is, everybody knows what they're going to do. Bro, you scored 33, 34, 38 in 3 straight games, and you got 1 win.
Yep.
The offensive play calling did just fine. There ain't nothing wrong with it. You got 1 win out of that. Stop blaming it on Zach Taylor. It's not this dude's fault. Lou Anarumo needs somebody else on that team that can be a dog. We don't have another dog. Logan Wilson's missing tackles all over the place. People are running through him. And BJ Hill was hurt for the first 4 games, whatever, or 3 games. When he came back, they finally got a dub, and you're like, oh, here we go. Maybe this is what we needed. Nope, that wasn't it. They figured that they could neutralize him. Trey Hendrickson leads the league in sacks. They'll give up a few sacks a game because they know nobody else can touch them.
Yep.
It's okay to give up a few sacks a game on plays that don't mean anything, on 3rd and longs, right? Or
Or in the
third and
beginning of the
mediums.
game, right? It's timeliness of the sacks. It's not always just about the sack. When does that sack occur? When you watch a Myles Garrett, I was watching that Pittsburgh game versus Cleveland last week in the snow. Myles Garrett, they held him in check for a lot of that game. At the very end of that game, he got pressure. He was disruptive. He did things that made Russell Wilson and the other quarterback dude, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, from Ohio State. What's his name? Fields.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Justin Fields. Like, he put them on their heels, right? And we don't have somebody who can do that all the time if they find a way to neutralize Trey Hendrickson. So we don't, for whatever reason, we continue to play Sam Hubbard a ton of snaps when we know Sam Hubbard can't get pressure on the quarterback. You've got a first-round pick that you picked up last year in Myles Murphy that for whatever reason, you're just not using him. You've got this Joseph Osai dude that you spent all offseason raving about how well he's done. He's in a contract year. He's looking great. And then you don't use him. I don't understand the thought process in the defensive coordinator's mind at this point.
I completely agree with you. I mean, Lou Anarumo was one of the top head coaching guys being looked at to be a head coach in this league. And after this year, there ain't nobody looking at him. Like, you can, like, it's, I mean,
I'm not sure he'll survive this year as a Bengals defensive coordinator.
You don't think 1 year, you don't think they'll give him a year?
No, because last year the defense wasn't good either.
That's true. That's true. They really haven't been good since Super Bowl year.
Correct.
Yeah. I don't know. That's it's so crazy to think that when Lou Anarumo was the bee's knees, right? That's so crazy.
But so here's the other piece to why the defense isn't good and why the team is struggling. The front office holds a chunk of blame as well. When you let pieces like DJ Reader walk for a couple $1 million difference in either guaranteed money, or Detroit was willing to give him 2 years versus we were willing to give him a year and an option or whatever. Like, when you let a guy like DJ Reader walk, knowing that your rush defense is already suspect, when you let a dude like Jesse Bates walk because of guaranteed monies that he's asking for, and now the dude is head and shoulders the best safety in the league, when you don't replace a guy who was performing at a high level like Chidobe Awuzie when he was here at corner, when you spend a ton of money 2 years in a row at safety on guys who can't tackle and quite frankly, can't play, and you don't have anybody to replace those people, the talent level falls off. Your production falls off. Your ability to scheme and create and do all these things completely changes. But we as fans knew that, man, they should probably bring in a veteran corner because there's a lot of young dudes there. Man, they should really address that run defense. Like, Sheldon Rankins is okay, but if you're going to lose DJ Reader, you really need a little more beef up front to be able to do that. We know who Trey Hendrickson is, but like Joseph Osai, question mark. Myles Murphy, I didn't really see enough of him last year to say that he's going to be legit per se. And we know what Sam Hubbard is. So why didn't you go out and get somebody who can add to your issues? And even at the trade deadline. So you watched, 10 games of what this team is and what this defense is. And you said, we're good.
No. Actually, they made the very first move since what was it? I can't remember what it was. It was the first.
That was adding a running back
That was the
round
joke.
draft pick
It was a
that
joke.
cost really, in the grand scheme of things, nothing. And it was purely out of desperation. Like, you had to have another running back. It wasn't because you were like, hey, this is the move that's going to put us over the top. It was, we don't have enough depth, period, at the running back position, so we have to add someone.
I was
But
just
you
kidding. I
didn't
was
go
just
out.
kidding. I know that my point of saying that was going to be a joke. The fact that they went after a running back instead of all the things they needed.
But
yes,
like, you didn't
totally.
go out and pursue a guy like Calais Campbell, for the interior of that defensive line. You didn't go out and pursue dudes off the edge who could complement Trey Hendrickson and add some level of pass rush to your team. You were still, 4-5, 4-6 at that point of the trade deadline, where you have an opportunity and a chance to make a move, and you chose not to do it.
They brought somebody in too and worked him out, a veteran. I can't think of his name. And they offered him a contract, and he's
Oh, the cornerback.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And they couldn't get anything done with him.
Yeah. So dude literally said, I don't know what the offer was, but dude literally said, nah, that's cool. I'd rather go sit on my couch.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm
Then
pretty
get game
sure
film.
it
Then
wasn't
get
the
game
greatest
film
offer
and
in the world.
try to make another team.
Mhm.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So you mentioned something that I was going to say before about I was kind of happy to hear you say that, because I feel like people aren't willing to. I think you might have even just said that too. People aren't willing to put any kind of blame on Joe Burrow because he's just the god and everything.
And I don't
But he
even
has-
necessarily blame Joe Burrow,
No.
but you cannot blame the offense or the play calling or anything when you just flat out cannot stop anybody anytime.
So yeah, so he and Andre talked about how, he did not play well at all in the New England game. But but he's been really good besides that for the most part. I've even seen like some throws in games where I'm like, who is that? Like, he'll like underthrow a guy by 5 yards and he's wide open or something, and it's like, and he wasn't even like really rushed or anything. It was a couple times I've seen that, and I'm like,
watch
something wrong with him.
Watch Kansas City. That happens with anybody.
Okay.
I mean, those throws happen in games. You're gonna get a throw or two where, and it's not always his fault either, right? A lot of that is that the maybe the receiver was supposed to stop and come back. Maybe the receiver was supposed to, find the soft spot in the zone and he threw it there and the guy stopped. A lot of that happens. But I agree with you. But I think you see that I don't think there's a quarterback in the league that doesn't have a bad throw a game.
Okay, so here's where I'm going.
I could be wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
Here's where I'm going with that. They can't run the ball at all, right? So that's going to hurt. I mean, Joe Burrow has been really, really good, like, when you consider that.
Yes.
To have all the pressure of making every play.
But they run a ton of running backs, of screens and stuff like that, and that's
they don't run a ton
50% of their run game.
That's
that is
part of the
run
problem.
game.
Like, you go back and look at the Jake Burrow offense of last year. That's running a ton of screens. Like, running multiple screens in a drive, that's a ton of screens. You might see one or two screens a game out of this team the way that they are currently running this offense. They're not running a ton of screens. There's not a lot of dump offs to the running back, by letting the offensive lineman filter down, and then you hit the running back on some sort of, drop off pass to get the ball moving. But they don't do a ton of that. Joe is, historically speaking, shotgun, 5 wideouts, everybody spread out. Let me figure out what the defense is doing based upon how they're lined up, and I will get the ball to the correct person at the right time, because I'm smarter than what this defense is able to do.
Yeah. But so it may get even better if you figure out, and it's not going to happen this year, but figure out how to get your running game just a little bit better even.
So I'll tell you how to get the running game a little bit better.
I think Chase Brown's good.
You've got the worst and second worst guards in the league. Like, Alex Kappa is terrible and Volson is terrible. Like, they both, you can't have both guards not playing well, right? Like, Karras isn't great, middle of the road, but you can't put him between two guards who are just awful, especially when it comes to the run game. And the way that the Bengals run their run offense, it's they run a ton out of shotgun. So you have to have guys who can win at the point of attack in order to make that move because the defense can already see the running back coming at them, right? It's not a quick turnaround, boom, and then you're trying to guess which hole is the running back going to. The running back already has a head of steam and is coming at you. If you can hold your block, see which way he's going, shed your block and tackle, right? Those things, it becomes much easier if you can beat that offensive lineman who's in front of you. And so with Kappa and Volson not being good at what they do, it just makes it a lot easier for the defense to stop those runs. And that's why we struggle with short yardage. That's why we struggle with, running the ball efficiently. Yeah, you're going to get a couple of runs where Chase Brown hits a crease 20 yards, 40 yards. Like, cool. And you can have one of those, but then he has 6 runs of 2 yards. And so now he's got 7 carries for 50 yards, and it looks great. But 6 of those were inefficient and doesn't get you what you need. And so he averages 4.3 yards a carry, but that's not 4.3 yards a carry. That's a couple of really nice runs and a bunch of crap.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I can't debate that.
So consistency with the running game, and that starts with the offensive line. We're still all these years still working on trying to build that back up.
No,
Still
man,
trying
think
to
about this. Like Kevin Zeitler is still in this league. Kevin Zeitler is still playing at a very, very, very high level in this league. The Bengals paid him for 1 contract and let that dude walk because they don't pay guards that kind of money.
Well, so let's talk about that. We went to the Super Bowl in was it 2021?
Yep.
And that team got hot. They got hot at the end of the season. And they had a chip on their shoulder. Now, you constantly every year before the season starts hear, Bengals playoff contender, AFC championship contender, stuff like that. Number one, once that chip goes away, makes it tough. Maybe you're not as good. But number two is when you get to that level and you don't have a front office that's willing to keep you at that level, there's a reason the Bengals have been who they are for the last 30 years. 33 years.
Yes.
There's a reason they've been that way, and it's because when they get somebody that's good, they will not pay them, and they will not pay they did pay a couple free agents the last few years, but historically, they're not going to pay a free agent. They're not going to make a trade at the deadline for a big name. They're not going to do those things.
They don't
as a
do
Bengals fan, what do we do?
They don't do everything you can in order to win. Right?
Does Mike Brown have to die? What has to happen?
There's a limit to what they are willing to. They want to win. I don't
Everybody
believe
wants to
anybody
win.
who's like, oh, Mike Brown doesn't care about winning. They want to win. They want to win in their way. And that means I want to be competitive every year. So, because I want fans to come, I want people to be excited. What I don't want to do, I think Mike Brown's biggest fear is we go off and win a Super Bowl and then are non-contenders for the next 10 years because we went all in 1 year.
I mean, it happened to the Patriots. When that year Brady left, I'll never forget listening to Belichick in a press conference going, well, you know what, fans, what'd you expect? You guys wanted one more. You wanted one more. We did everything we could. We put it all in, and this is what you get after Tom leaves. This is what we have left.
But you know what? For a team that was established in 1968 and the amount of fans that are just like, just give me one. Like I would be okay if the Bengals were crap for the next 2 years after they won a Super Bowl. Like, just give me one, man. Yeah. Come on. Just give me one. Like one time I want them to forget about the salary cap, forget about, trying to prepare for next year and rolling over an extra 10 or $15 million at the end of the year. Like, take that money, go get a nice backup guard who can come in and play. Like, go get another defensive end who can come in and help balance out Trey Hendrickson. Go get a veteran corner and stack this team so that we can go compete.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Give me 1 second here. We've got some low system resources that may affect your audio quality. Let me close this thing and see if that helps. All right. So anyway, uh I mean, I couldn't agree that it's difficult to continue to see the same thing over and over again, and then to get good and to make it and to have a team get hot and make it as far as the Super Bowl, right? Because let's be honest, once you get to the playoffs, like you're in the playoffs, that's at that point in time, it's a crapshoot.
Yep.
Right. I mean, you got good teams that are going to be better than teams, but I mean, anybody can beat anybody on any given night. It's the NFL, right? So you get those teams where you make it to the playoffs and then you get a win and then you make it to the Super Bowl. And now it's like, what? Joe Burrow going to beat Dan Marino? Like a quarterback that puts up enormous stats every single year, but made it his second, third year in the league and never goes back. Like that is, my heart hurts right now just thinking about that. I love Joe Burrow. I loved Carson Palmer. I love those big stat guys. They're winners. They're guys that are incredibly smart quarterbacks. But if you can't win it with one person, you cannot win with one person or two for that matter. You include Chase.
You can't do it with three either because you got Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and Trey Hendrickson, three of the best at their position in the entire league, and they're 4-7.
Yeah. So at 4-7, playoff hopes completely gone. Is there a chance they win out? Because that's what they would have to do, right?
So
no, I don't think so. I think you can lose 8 games. I think they can lose another game.
So completely gone is mathematically eliminated. Yeah. They are not mathematically eliminated. So no, the answer is not completely gone. There are a couple of scenarios where they could go like 9-8 and still make it. They need a whole lot of help because teams like Denver aren't losing. Yes, we faced them head to head, but I think Denver's already got like 6 or 7 wins. So even if we only pick up 1 against them, that doesn't give us a whole lot of help. You probably got to win the rest of with maybe 1 misstep in there. And then if you have that misstep, you got to hope you get a whole lot of help.
You got to go 5-1. You have to. You can't.
You have to go 5-1 to have a
chance. That's what I mean. To have a chance. And 9-8 can do it. The AFC is really good, which means they're going to be 3 teams at the top. But that middle of the road, and now that they've expanded the playoffs, there's a chance. There's a good chance that 9-8 is going to get you in the playoffs. There's a really good chance. We're not going to win.
I don't know about good chance. There's a chance. Because I'm looking it up right now. You've got the Bills at 9-2. You got the Chiefs at 10-1. You got the Steelers at 8-3, and the Texans at 7-5. So those are your 4 locks already from a divisional standpoint.
I mean, 7-5 doesn't scare me.
But doesn't matter. They're the division leaders.
Oh, okay, that's fine. The division.
That's 4 of the 7 spots already taken, right? Okay. So now we got 3 more spots left. Right now, ahead of you are the Dolphins at 5-6, the Chargers at 7-4, who already beat you. They already beat you. You can wave your hand if you want to. They're 7-4 and have the head-to-head versus you straight up.
They have the head-to-head and they have a coach. They're not going to lose 3 more games. This is just not going to happen. That's a good team.
So really the Chargers who are 7-4. So your Dolphins at 5-6, Chargers who are 7-4, Broncos who are 7-5, who you have the opportunity to play head-to-head against, and the Ravens at 8-4, who have beaten you twice, and the Colts at 5-7. So that's 5 teams who have a better record than you do as of today. And there's only 3 spots left.
Oh, I get it.
And of those teams, the Ravens are 4 games ahead of you,
Good.
and the Chargers are 2 games plus a head-to-head ahead of you,
Two and a
and the
half.
Broncos are 2 games ahead of you.
Look, I get it. I get it.
But I'm just saying, to say
I
that
dig it.
9-8 has a really good chance, I don't know that it is. I think there is a chance. I wouldn't call it really good.
Okay. Maybe really good was the wrong words. But they've got I would still say maybe good's not a good word. How about decent?
They have a
Punchable.
chance. It exists. 9-8, there is the possibility that they can make the playoffs in 9-8.
10
If
and
you
7's
really
even
want
better.
to feel more comfortable, you got to win out.
Here's the thing. Pittsburgh's not going to score enough points against you to win. I truly believe we can beat Pittsburgh twice. They're going to be dogfights, but I think we could beat them twice. They just don't put up enough points. And we're going to it just feels like.
But to be fair, your defense is terrible.
Yeah.
Like that's the difference, right? The what you can normally count on
Yeah.
as defensive production, or that we have grown accustomed to counting on from as a defensive production from a Lou Anarumo coach defense, is not what you're getting this year. This team is allowing an ungodly amount of points and yards, and but like they are terrible. And so I would agree with you. Under normal circumstances, Pittsburgh could not score enough points to hang with that offense. But
Was the Giants game the game that BJ Hill came back?
I don't remember.
So 3 losses in a row. New England, Kansas City, Washington beat Carolina 34-24. Lose to Baltimore 41-38. And then we had back-to-back decent games. 17-7 against the Giants, which you got to score more than 17 points. That's ridiculous. And then 21-14 in a divisional game against the Browns. 7-14, those aren't bad. I feel like there was a point when BJ Hill came back where it was like, uh-oh, they figured it out. Here they come. 37-24 given up against a terrible Raiders team. 35 against Baltimore, 34 against the Chargers.
They're not
BJ
good.
Hill ain't helping you as much as everybody thinks.
They're not good, bro.
That's so bad. That is so bad.
So
Okay.
I mean, like, you can't tell me you can't see, Bengals are winning, let's call it, 34-30, and Russell Wilson needs one drive to make this game happen, and CTB is on Pickens. My money's on Pickens.
Buddy, I'm going to tell you right now, if there's an overthrown ball, if there's one more overthrown ball that the guy doesn't catch and he takes a spear and throws it in his side or starts talking to the opposing team's fans, I'm going to jump through the TV and choke slam him. I mean, it's the most ridiculous. You did nothing to make you got beat. He's 2-3 yards ahead of you. You couldn't even have grabbed him to stop him, and the ball's overthrown. What are you?
He's been garbage this year, and I don't know what happened. There are rumors of like maybe spending a little too much time in the nightlife, a little too much time in the clubs, not enough time in the film room and working on your technique and doing those things.
Man, you know what? These dudes put a ton of work in, and when you start getting beat and things start happening, if you were really good one year and did all the same stuff and then did all the same things and just had a tough year, or something's breaking down on you, or you've got a small injury that nobody knows about, something like that, immediately they're going to pick it apart. You know what, man? If the dude's going out at night, as long as he's getting to practice and he's there on time or early, and that's hard for me to. It's hard for me to
I don't know,
even.
man. I feel like my belief is you have a very short shelf life in this league.
Yeah.
And you don't have time to play around with that time that you're given. And you can go from starter, potential Pro Bowler, to journeyman, to out of the league within 2 years. So sure, do what you want to do, but know that it comes with consequences because you start performing like he's performing now, dude's been terrible.
So that's the thing. So that's my thing is what if you're living that life and you're still putting a lot of work in that people don't see and stuff, but you're still going out and having a little nightlife or doing whatever, and you start doing this bad, then yes, you've got to reset yourself and go, I'm killing it. I don't see that in his mindset when he celebrates every bad pass that's an incompletion or every deep ball that gets thrown out of bounds and he's celebrating. That tells me he doesn't see him. He sees himself doing something right. Number one. Number two, JJ Watt used to say the exact same thing. JJ Watt said, I don't want a girlfriend. I don't want friends. I don't want anything. If my teammates want to come over and watch a movie, we can watch a movie, but they're out by 10. Like he said that all the time. I've got a small window to be the best person I can be. And
I mean,
I
look
don't
at
think he,
Burrow. Look at Burrow and what he does. Hey, Joe, what did you do in the bye week? Nothing. Like, I'm focused on football. I'm trying to get better. I'm working on my craft, whatever. Like, football is, I think the average football career is 3.5 years.
yeah.
Some are longer. Obviously, a whole lot are much shorter. I've got a finite amount of time to be the best player that I can be and make the most money that I can make. And do I want to take that opportunity and piss it away?
Yeah. And
It's your
and for
call.
the guy that came and had a tryout and said he didn't want the money that we were offering him, there's also a thing to be said 2 years ago. People were dying to get over here in free agency to come to Cincinnati. Now you can't get a guy to have a tryout and accept that's not playing. That's crazy. That's crazy. All right. We realize we know what's going on. Right. We've been through this so many times. We've been doing this podcast for 5 or 6 years now. Andre's been coming on for 5 or 6 years now. We've been through it all. He was on when we were trying to get Joe Burrow. He's on when we're talking about the Miami game where it's like, why are you trying to win this game
The
right
Tua
now?
Bowl at that time, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's what it was. It was Tua
Yeah,
Bowl.
it was
That's
the
what that
Tua
was.
Bowl.
Yeah, that was the Tua Bowl. Sorry, you're right. Anyway, it's like, dude, what is going on? We've been through a lot on this podcast with Andre. We know what's going on. So let's talk about this. What I just want to get to something different with a little more positivity. Is there a chance that T. Higgins is on this team next year? Not a chance. Is there a really good chance?
Is there a better chance
there's
that
always a
playoffs
chance.
at 9-8 for T. Higgins to be back?
There's always a chance. Can you hear us?
I thought we were going to transition to something positive.
Sorry, I don't know. I'm just trying to get out of that. I want to get on. Let's get on something different than just. I guess it's really the same because we're talking about we're talking about the C-suite making decisions.
And, yeah.
So
no, there's no chance T. Higgins is here next year. Not
okay,
a shot.
I figured as much as well.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
that dude is really good.
he is, but he only plays 60% of the snaps.
Yeah.
And he wants 100% of the money.
Mm-hmm.
And those two things don't jive and vibe together with this front office. Like, it's just they put a value on a player, they put a value on what they feel you're worth and what you bring to the team. And T is going to be like, look, man, I'm one of the best wide receivers in the league, and I should be paid on average 25 to 30 mil a year. And there is some team who is going to pay him 25 to 30 mil a year because from a talent perspective, that dude is that good. But when you're the Bengals and you already have a Jamar Chase on your team, you're like, 20 million because you're going to only play 2/3 of the snaps. I can be down with that, but I'm not giving you 30 million and then also turning around and paying Jamar 35 or 40 million. Like, I'm not doing that because you're only going to play 2/3 of the snaps.
I'm totally fine with watching him walk. I mean, it sucks to watch him walk when you could have got something for him last year. But if it's where I mean, that's the past. We can't do anything about that. So it's okay to watch him walk to see if they can somehow spend that money in a really good way in the offseason. Because, like you said, we've got Jamar Chase. Yosivach has got hands, bro. My man's got hands. He catch Gesicki is looking insane. Like, if Burrow, you need a possession receiver. I think Mike Gesicki's your best possession receiver. Like, you just need a 5-yard in. He's gonna catch.
He's only signed to a 1-year deal.
That's okay. So that sucks.
I mean, yeah.
Never mind.
I'm just saying, from a longevity standpoint, he's only
not going to happen
this year.
Sure. I don't know. It doesn't matter if at the end of this year they can't play defense. If they cannot find a way to play defense, then it doesn't matter. None of this matters.
Yeah.
And I don't know. They have not shown me anything that says it's going to change.
And if I were building this team, like, if they let me be GM for an off season,
well, they don't have a GM. It's a player.
That's right. Director of player personnel.
Director of player personnel.
If they let me have Duke's job,
that's gonna suck to be him and be like, I'll never get paid like a GM.
I don't know that he cares.
Obviously he doesn't, because he's been here forever.
Correct.
And he doesn't care.
Job security. He probably makes a nice chunk of change for what he has to do. He's got anonymity. He doesn't really have to talk to anybody but once or twice a year, period. Like, yeah, give me that job. Like, people are yelling and screaming at how bad Duke Tobin has been in drafting the last couple of years, and that dude couldn't care less because he doesn't have to talk to you about it.
That's true.
Yep, 100%. 100%.
Like,
nobody in the front office ever has to talk.
Right, correct. Go talk to Zach Taylor about my decisions. I don't have to talk about that. I'm good. But
hey, Zach, if you want to keep your job, shut up and don't talk about me.
Yeah, exactly. I would start in the trenches. I would rebuild my defensive line starting from the inside out. I would rebuild my offensive line starting from the inside. Like, you have to replace those two guards. You have to. I don't care if it's a top end draft pick and a high end free agent. Like, you have to replace those dudes. They're just not good enough. And I think you got something in Jenkins. I like him. McKinley Jackson, maybe. I don't know. He doesn't play a ton, but I think those are at least young pieces that I'm willing to give a little more time to see what they do. But BJ Hill's a free agent at the end of this year. I would cut Sheldon Rankins because he's been terrible and it's just basically stealing money. And you don't really have anybody left beyond that. So give me some interior pass rush. Give me a dude to go along the other side of Trey Hendrickson, whether that's give Miles Murphy run for the rest of this year so you can see what he actually is, and then add, because Osai's a free agent as well. You still need at least one more pass rusher over there. I would also cut Sam Hubbard, quite frankly. So you're like, I got a lot of money that I can recoup between Sheldon. I think it's like 12 million. I think Hubbard is like 10 million. Geno Stone is a nice chunk of money. Like, buy. Recoup about $30 million and go spend it on dudes who can come in the trenches and make the defense and offensive line work.
How long is Trey Hendrickson?
He signed for one more year.
Because he's gone. I mean, he already asked for a trade last year. Like, he's gone.
Well, he signed for one more year. So
but you got to start looking for his replacement too, because he's
for
gone.
Sure. But I think it's more so, I personally would extend Trey.
I'm telling you, he asked for a trade. He's not going to want to.
He asked for a trade because he wants more money.
And the Bengals aren't going to give it to him.
Well, but I'm saying what I would do. I'm different than what the Bengals would do.
Sorry.
What Andre Tobin would do.
I would extend Trey. I would give him more money and I would extend him. I would extend Jamar. And then I would finish out the rest of my game plan as far as putting the people in position on defensive line and offensive line. And then, like, your skill positions, if Burrow has enough time, those dudes will get open. He'll find them, right? For the love of God, so nobody's yelling and screaming at me, I am not saying Joe Burrow is Tom Brady. What I'm saying is, look at the number of wide receivers that Tom Brady had that weren't upper echelon dudes that he made work because he had time in front of him, right? I believe Joe Burrow is that type of quarterback that if you give me enough time, I will find the dude who's open and I will get that person the ball. I don't care if it's Jamar Chase. I don't care if it's T. Higgins. I don't care if it's Burton or Yoshivas or who. I don't care who it is. Give me time and I'll make it work.
I agree. So what do you got? 'Cause I just
Oh.
wanted to say one more thing that he doesn't even have to respond to. Can we stop just drafting wide receivers that are just super fast just because we think that's going to be something that's going to be great? I mean, I don't mind Burton, but can we just? I don't need him on this team. I don't need somebody that can only do one thing and one thing only, and it's sprint as fast as you can down the field and try to catch a ball. I don't need it anymore. We had who was the other guy who returned punts for us that couldn't even catch a punt, but he was super, super fast. So we drafted him in the second round. I just throwing that out there when I'm thinking about receivers. You don't even have to respond to that. You don't have to.
Burton's a head case. Burton's a head case.
Yes.
That dude has some issues that need to be worked through. And I'll leave it at that.
Adam, you got something else, buddy, before we get out of this thing?
I was gonna say before we start the last part of this thing, the really, really fun part.
Yes.
Do you have put a bow on the Bengals thus far and moving forward the rest of the season? Anything else you want to say? Just to kind of end our Bengals segment.
It's a shame that the Bengals are wasting what would be an MVP season from Joe Burrow and an offensive player of the year season in Jamar Chase and the potential defensive player of the year, at least sack leader season of Trey Hendrickson. Like, it is a shame. And as much time and dedication as the fans put in and how loyal they are, it sucks. And that's a shame. I've seen plenty of very poor Bengals seasons where you're like, well, at least you got to see Corey Dillon do some cool stuff. Or at least, wow, Chad Johnson's super entertaining, right? But very rarely has it been, man, we got one of the best quarterbacks in the league, period. We have one of the best wide receivers paired with that quarterback in the league, period. Like, I would take that combination of quarterback and wide receiver over anyone in the league right now. Anybody. I don't care who you give me. I'm good. I'll take those two. Y'all figure out the rest, right?
Palmer Johnson was the same thing.
Right? Like, I'll give me those two. You can have the field and let's go to war. And it's a shame that it's just being wasted week after week.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
I agree.
I don't think anybody would disagree.
I totally agree. I think what we should do now, I think Andre has taken this sad present and put a bow on it with that statement.
Yeah.
And what I do when I have a bow laying around the house is I pick it up and I throw it in a junk drawer.
That segue. Woo! That is, you are a professional, sir. You, sir, are a professional.
Andre, our Mount Rushmore for this week, you have been informed of, and I'm told you're in for this, right?
I am.
My favorite thing to do when we have guests on this podcast is to tell them what our Mount Rushmore is. And
just get the reaction.
Dude, we do a Mount Rushmore every week. Think about that. And it's probably been the last 3 years we've done this.
Oh, yeah.
So you're talking, let's say we do 45 podcasts a year, right? Because we don't hit every week. We'll say 45. It's actually probably closer to 50, but 45. No, 45 is probably
45, yeah.
So that's 90. That's 135 135 different Mount Rushmores, but it's tough. It's tough. We struggle to come up with something new every week. We did the Mount Rushmore of people named Leo. Yeah, dude,
no explanation.
No explanation. It just is what it is. It just came out, and that's what it was.
Touche.
On that note, we have the Mount Rushmore of junk drawers.
Yes.
So just
junk
to
drawer
get
items.
junk drawer items.
Yeah.
To give you a little idea on how this comes about is, sorry, Adam, my mom and dad growing up in the Witt household. We have 1, 2, 3. We have 4, 5. We have 5. We have a countertop that has 5 drawers, top drawers, right? And then we have a main countertop next to the sink, and the stove has another 3 or 4. Those are reserved for knives, spoons, ladles, all that stuff. The 5 on that back countertop, all five are junk drawers.
Wow.
All 5. Buddy, I'm telling you, people
That's
come
impressive.
by mom and dad's house and they're like, "Hey, do you have tape?" And they go, "Check those drawers." And you don't
Start
know
here.
which one it's gonna be in a different drawer every time. They tried to organize the junk drawers one time and put like Thule stuff, like little mini. Nah, that lasted about 2 weeks and it was all spread out again. So that's how, it's always a big joke at my mom and dad's house. We've got 5 junk drawers. Now, my wife is not my family in any way, shape, or form. We have a divider with slots in our junk drawer. And you only put Sharpies in this slot. That's the only place Sharpies go. So I can't even call it a junk drawer anymore. I've grown into a new type of person when it comes to that kind of thing. However, that's how this came about. So I have a lot of things that you could possibly see in the junk drawer when it comes to my life.
Yeah.
But you are fresh to this thought process.
Yes.
Andre, as the guest, we want to let you go first. Mount Rushmore of junk drawer items.
So I will tell you, we have a junk drawer in our house.
Yes.
Well, that's not a question.
So that drawer
Nobody
exists
questioned that.
here.
And that's not a bad
And it's
thing.
not organized. It's
yeah.
hodgepodge of things.
Everyone should have a junk drawer. Oh, no, that's how this came up. This is how it came up. We were talking about Joe Carter, home run ball. Game 6, the World Series winning home run ball. I don't know if you ever heard this story. Dan Patrick goes to Mitch Williams and goes to Joe Carter like 2 months after the World Series and interviews them both at their house, right? Williams threw the pitch. Carter hits it out, walk-off home run to win the World Series. One of the greatest home runs in baseball history. Dan Patrick goes, "So where's the ball?" He's like, "Oh, it's in that drawer right behind you." He's like, "What?" Opens the drawer. In this junk drawer, a baseball's rolling around. He goes, "Yeah, I gave it to my wife and she just threw it in there."
I love
Feels
it.
right.
Yeah. So anyway, that's how this came about. I'm sorry that I just jumped onto another tangent. I tend to do that. Andre, we know you have a junk drawer. Every normal person has a junk drawer. Not everybody has 5.
Not everybody has 5. That is true.
No normal person has 5 junk drawers. No.
What do you say about my mom?
I'm kidding.
All right. So
no, it's true.
in my house, if you are looking for a pair of scissors, they are without question in a junk drawer. No doubt about it. Go to the junk drawer. You will find scissors.
That's a key item in
Key
any
item.
junk drawer.
Key item. 2, if you ever have people come over and you got a bunch of red Solo cups running around and you got to be like, "Hey, whose cup is this?" Reach in that drawer, grab a Sharpie because it is 100% in that junk drawer.
We have 7 Sharpies and they're all in the junk drawer and they've got their own slot, different colors.
Post-its, because there's always a note that needs to be written or left or something, some quick little blurb or a quick phone number or whatever. There's always different sizes and shapes and colors of Post-its in my junk drawer. And then finally, something just a little bit different is a measuring tape, but not like the kind that you pull out and retract. I'm talking about the kind that's like fabric measuring tape.
Oh, yes, love those.
Flexible.
Yes.
Why? I don't know. Like, I'm not a tailor. Why do we have this measuring tape in the crib? I don't know, but it's in the junk drawer every time. Anytime you need to measure something, like, "Hey, I need to buy a shirt. What's Caleb's neck size?" "Oh, just get the 16 and a half.
Where it's at.
Got it." Like, it's always there. And I would just like to give an honorable mention to super glue.
That's number 1 on my list. That's number 1 on my list.
But it's dried out. Guaranteed.
Yeah, it's dried out.
There's no
Guaranteed.
I have 3 super glues currently up in there. All 3 of them are hard as a rock and you can't get the cap off.
Guaranteed.
I started buying the Gorilla Glue It's got these like orange things like you got to squeeze the thing on the side to make it come out, and it sucks the glue back in before you put the lid on.
Genius.
Greatest thing in the world. I've
Genius.
never used super glue more than once in my life until now.
Genius. There you go. That's my Mount Rushmore.
I love it. That's
good.
great.
Yeah, those are good.
Those are all clutch Mount Rushmore items
Gotta
for
have 'em.
junk drawers.
Yeah.
I love it. Adam, you got to go next. No, I'm saving it because I'm going to go through a list of some things that you can randomly find in my mom and dad's junk drawers just to give you an idea of what I grew up with.
Can't wait. Okay. I'm going just a million pens and pencils. And some of them don't work,
Yes.
by the way. Speaking
Agreed. Like, instead of throwing them away, you just put them back in the junk drawer.
100%.
Yes.
And I'm a pencil nut. Like I have a pencil,
he's a pencil guy.
all the time. Baseball, basketball, just in life, in my work, I use a pencil. We've got a ton of pencils, but I hate them when they're not sharp. So I'm constantly when I go in there to get a pencil out of the drawer, I'll grab 3 of them, go to the pencil sharpener and sharpen all of them, put 2 of them back, and then go use it. I hate an unsharpened pencil. Hate it. I keep a knife in my car just to sharpen pencils while I'm driving down the road.
You can get a little pencil sharpener.
Yeah, but then all the crap gets everywhere. I mean, I guess it's getting everywhere anyway, but
Whittling class? What are we doing here?
I was
give me something to do while I'm driving.
I was talking to my brother about this the other day, and he started rattling off things that we had, and he said pencil shavings in our in ours, and he was right. Anyway, the pens and pencils, most of them don't match either. It's like bank pens, and it's all kinds of like different cheap businesses. You get pens and stuff like that. They're just all over the place.
Absolutely.
The dentist, the bank, like I got multiple like pharmaceutical pens that like companies I've worked for.
My whole like when I have to go to a baseball meeting and we've got all the kids and all the parents got to sign paperwork and stuff for the year, I grab my hunk of pens out of my car that I keep in my little in the car, and it's all hotel pens. Nothing but hotel pens. I take every hotel pen. When I'm there and there's a hotel pen sitting there, I take it every single time.
I'm calling the police.
I think that's free. I think that's one of the items you're allowed to take. I mean, I do take a white rag every time, like the medium one. I take one of those almost every time because I use them as sweat rags for baseball, basketball. I have a rag. I'm Tarkanian.
Okay.
Tartanian. What is his name?
Tarkanian.
Tarkanian.
Yeah,
Jerry.
I'm him during basketball. Like I've got a towel 24/7. When you sweat like I do, like you've got to have a sweat towel with you at all times.
Since you said that, I'll give you the pen. The towel is stealing.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. No, I'm saying that was my point is the pen I feel like I was okay. I do steal things I shouldn't, but
all right. I'm going, and this is a compound item here. Stapler, staples, and the box of staples that you bought accidentally that don't fit your stapler. But you can't throw away a new box of staples, even if they don't fit. So they just stay.
Because someday you may come into a stapler that those fit. And then you're going to be like, now I got to go buy those staples again. I already had them.
Yes.
And by that time, you're going to forget that you had them anyway, and you're going to go buy more anyway.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right.
I love that. That's good.
So the wrong size staples. Sharpie and giant fat permanent marker.
Sure.
That like bullet looking one. I feel like everybody had that at some point.
Yep.
It's the tip of it's like a cube or I mean it's enormous.
Yeah.
We always had those. And I'm going with marks on the inside of the drawer from the open pens. That's on mine too.
Like nobody put the top back on.
Yeah. Or it's a retractable
open and
one.
close, open and close, bang, bang, bang. Yeah. Just nothing but marks.
Yep. And then like shuffling everything around in there looking for something. They're getting moved around all over the place. They're making marks. I've got so many things on this list that did not make my top 4.
Let's talk about some of them because I want to just go over some things. Me and you will go back. Let's just go back and forth, talk about some things.
I gotta have Chris. I gotta have your top 4. Like you can talk,
okay.
Top 4.
But I gotta have a top 4.
So top 4, I'll go top 4. my number one was super glue. The hard super glue was going to be my number one. Well done with that. Um, so my number two is candles. You got to have birthday candles in the junk drawer. Birthday candles. That's what birthday candles live.
Good
is
call.
the junk drawer.
Yeah.
They're all half burnt down and broke.
For sure.
And I've got a number 3, and all my kids are 8 and older, but I might need a 3 again. They're gonna be 13 sometime, right? It is what it is. Gotta have them. I'm gonna go with pencils. I gotta have pencils. Pencils are that's a go-to 100%. I have to have 12 pencils because they're gonna end up in my truck, and then I'm gonna bring them all back. The pencils are a must. And the fourth one's tough. So I've got a ton of stuff in my head, and I didn't make a decision on the fourth, but I was hoping we could talk about this for a minute. And I can make the decision, but before we talk about all the other stuff, I'll do it. I'll go with it. Number 4, junk drawer, Mount Rushmore item that just everybody, everywhere I've lived has got it in there. I'm going to go with, I'm going with Sharpie. I'm going to go with Sharpie.
No.
I'm going to go with Sharpie. That's number 4.
Sensible.
Now, I will tell you, growing up in my mom and dad's house, one that I almost said and I wanted to talk about was electrical tape. I feel like electrical tape's always out there. Okay. Batteries, usually good junk drawer item.
Oh, yeah,
batteries.
Not
Whether they
always charged and working batteries.
100%, not always good batteries.
Correct.
But there's batteries in there.
Yes.
And
also randomly, there's always just one.
Yeah.
Like,
what do I need? One AA battery. What takes one AA battery?
Requires 2 batteries, right? Like you need 2 AA batteries, or you need 2 AAA batteries, or whatever. There's just one. Like, why is there just one?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm glad you said that because I've got something else like that coming up too. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. What else do you have? What's like that?
Oh, so
I've already made my 4, so you go ahead. Let's go.
We always had it seemed like 2 paper clips maybe. Like, I don't know.
We got a box of paper.
I don't think we ever bought a full package of paper clips. We would just get them on some papers or something, and that's what we had to. You just reuse those.
We have bulldog clips, and we have this ring, and there's 500 bulldog clips. Is that what they're called? That's what we always call them. Bulldog. It's like black on the end, and then you like flip the little thing. Squeeze it. We always call it bulldog clips. I don't know what they're really called. But we've got a little ring, and we've got about 40 of them on there. Never had an instance where I needed a bulldog clip in my life, ever. And we've always got plenty of them if you ever need one.
Sensible. I get it.
The other thing I was going to say is we always had maybe 2 or 3 safety pins. I don't know where they came from. I don't know. We didn't know. And at least one of them always had the burnt end because we would take a lighter and burn the end of it if we needed it to be.
Gotta get a splinter out.
Take out a splinter or something like that.
Yeah. Gotta get the splinter out. You gotta. I've came so far from there. I could care less if I get a little bacteria in there.
We had chopsticks.
Oh, plastic chopsticks or wood chopsticks?
Wood chopsticks.
Wow, that's feels like a one-time use kind of thing.
You think so? Chopsticks. Just saying.
That's not a utensil. That's junk.
That's right. That's correct.
It's a junk utensil.
I love that. So, mom and dad's house, you could almost build a house with what they had in there, dude. There's like a random outlet that and it would be like the old yellow colored outlet would just be in there, and it's got a burnt end on it, like it got exploded, and instead of throwing it away, it got thrown in the junk drawer. 14 to 30 different size screwdrivers.
14 to 30.
and this is on top of my dad's garage that is filled with tools, just a million of them. So these are just the random ones.
These are the ones that he brought in to do some work.
Yep.
I'm not going back out to the garage. I'm just going to
throw it in the junk drawer.
I'll need it again soon enough. Boom.
100%. One of the big things growing up that we always had in a junk drawer was a deck of cards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We probably had 5 decks of cards in different, and they're all in different junk drawers. Every one of them is in a different junk drawer.
Yeah.
You could get any color marker in my mom and dad's house right now. You can get any color marker out of any of the 5 junk drawers. None of them are the same size, brand, or anything. but there's green, yellow, red, blue, black, purple, orange, every color's in those drawers somewhere, but none of them are the same. None. There was some or a fat one, skinny one, like all of them are different. All of them are different. I can't like Andre, I can't even tell you if there's something you needed in your house, it's in those junk drawers. But they're so full, it's almost impossible to find something.
Correct.
Like you pull it out and you're like spreading stuff
Yep.
around, looking
Correct.
around. Then they tried to
100%.
put a bunch of stuff in bags, like baggies. It made it worse. Now I can't see what's in the bag because the baggie starts getting crinkled. Now it's almost like it's got a fog on it.
Like
I
a
don't know what's in
film.
there.
You can't even see through it. Yeah.
No, if you need a door hinge, it's gonna be you're gonna find one in my mom and dad's. You're gonna find one in mom and dad's junk drawer. If you need, you name it. What? Give me something else. I don't even know. The tape measures, the small tape measures that are like only go to like 8 feet.
Yeah.
Retractables.
What is this for?
Yeah. What do I need to measure? There's 7 of them in there.
I need to measure the width of the junk drawer is what I need.
That's what it is. That's what it is. I wish Erin was down here now because Erin, she went over. My wife went to my mom and dad's house one time and was like, we're just taking everything out. We're just going to take everything out and we're going to figure this out. And they attempted to, and it was overwhelming for her. And my wife has, dude, she's like, what's that place called? The bin store. What's that thing called?
The Container Store.
The Container Store. It's one of her favorite places. My everything's got a container. Everything's got some kind of fancy thing. My refrigerator, my pantry, it's all labeled. Like it's insane. Nothing like I grew up. Nothing like I grew up.
That's impressive.
Oh, I love it. I know exactly where the crackers are every time. I take that back. The other thing is she also moves everything at least 3 times a year.
Yeah.
I'll go in like, where's the plates? They've been in this cabinet for 100 years. And they're over there. How long have they been there? For 2 weeks. What?
That's like Kroger. Kroger will do that sometimes.
Oh,
Switch all the aisles
it's
around.
no good. Anyway, what else you got on there, Adam? Give me some good stuff.
Ruler, protractor, glue stick, hole punch, pencil
punch.
sharpener, a couple of maybe the trio highlighters, the pink, blue, and yellow.
Oh, the kind of like on a triangle. And you
Oh,
like
yeah,
take
yes,
off one end.
yes.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Anything small that you got for free anywhere.
Tchotchke type stuff that you picked up.
Anything small that was just sitting on a table when you were walking through somewhere is in that junk drawer.
The rest of the pack of the little Velcro strips that you needed one for, and you threw the rest of the pack in there. Same thing with the little felt pads that you put like at the bottom of like legs on a chair or something.
Yeah.
You got some more of those in there.
Yep.
A little picture hanging kit with like some little hooks and stuff maybe. Nowadays, you probably got cords and chargers in some of them.
Tomorrow morning, when I go over to mom and dad's for breakfast, I'm opening all 5 junk drawers and taking a ceiling view shot for you.
I'm gonna need that.
I'm gonna take a ceiling view shot.
I just remembered one more. Rubber bands, and most of them are so old that they're dried out and there's no elastic.
Don't pull on it; it's gonna break.
It just
breaks.
It breaks.
And there's at least 1, if not 2, like rubber band balls.
Yes,
that are in there.
I've got a rubber band ball in my house right now.
They're all banded together in balls and sitting in there. Yep.
Yeah, sure. That's one thing I've never done is make a rubber band ball. What starts it? What do you put it on?
You can buy them like that.
You can?
Yeah.
What's in the middle? Like you don't have, like you got to start around. You got to put a rubber band around something, don't you?
Yeah.
Rubber band.
Is it like a little mini? Is it like a bouncy ball or something in the middle?
You put rubber bands. Rubber bands around rubber bands, man. You just keep going.
There you go.
I feel like I need a starter. The rubber band ball I've never understood. Pee Wee Herman's rubber band ball, insane. I did try to make an aluminum foil ball when I was in high school at our little table. Every time somebody had something in aluminum foil, I would take it, put it in a ball, and I put it in my locker. It only got about that big because the aluminum foil you got wasn't big enough to hold it and wrap around anymore. So anyway,
that's it for me.
I like that. And I can't even think of all the things that are in my mom and dad's junk drawer right now.
I can't wait. That picture tomorrow.
There's going to be 6 of them. I'm going to take an overhead view of all of them. And then I'm going to one at a time. I'm going to open it up, make sure it's halfway spread out so you can see what's in each one.
Can't wait.
A lot of the same stuff in each one. A
That's
lot of the
okay.
exact same
Can't
stuff
wait.
in each one.
We're doing our Thanksgiving on Saturday, so I've got nothing tomorrow. I'm gonna sit there by my phone and wait for those.
Are you going to
pictures.
Danny's?
Yeah, I am doing that.
You're gonna go to Danny's?
Yeah, yeah.
So
Hey,
I
come over to Danny's. Danny Edwards, your cousin too.
for dessert. So
Oh, you'll be at your house though.
I made for the first time in my life. I hate pumpkin pie. I hate apple pie. I don't like pie.
Yeah, those are gross.
I'm not a pie guy. My mom and sister were talking about having a competition. They're both going to make a pumpkin pie, and we had to vote, and we're going to have to vote on it. So I said, instead of eating the pumpkin pie and voting, I'm going to make one. Bro, I got 2 pumpkin pies in the fridge right now. From the crust to the whipped cream, 100% made from scratch.
No way.
Did you know that if you beat eggs long enough, the egg whites, it like puffs up into it almost looks like whipped cream. Really, it's like puffs up into this. It's insane. Egg whites are amazing. I had 3 egg whites, right? Little tiny bowl. By the time I was done, it was like this big. I mean, I'm talking, I could have put it into a 10-inch round ball.
Wow.
There's your same thing with whole milk.
There's your starter for the rubber band ball.
There you go.
Egg whites.
Anyway, I'm about to win a competition. So I don't know if they're taking them to Danny's house for everybody to try and vote on.
Well, I won't be doing that.
I want you to try mine.
Well,
it's, I tell you, I don't like pumpkin pie. This one's not bad.
Do you like pumpkin pie?
I'm a sweet potato pie guy.
Okay. Oh, I can't say I love it. I like sweet potato pie better than pumpkin pie, but I don't like either. This, though, isn't like real thick. Pumpkin pie is kind of thick and real pumpkin spicy.
Yeah.
No pumpkin spice in my pumpkin pie at all. Not a drop. No pumpkin spice.
Okay.
That was the reason I chose this recipe, because I hate pumpkin spice. Real light, fluffy, airy, you might say.
Okay.
Telling you, bud, I've got this. It's a pumpkin chiffon pie. Bud.
Now we're getting French with it. I don't know, man.
But hey, brush them off. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm not mixing my egg whites into my pumpkin mixture. I'm folding.
You're folding. Look at you.
I am folding.
That's fancy.
Folding.
Making a pumpkin pie omelet?
But I'll tell you what. It's delicious.
Hey, do I have to hold a pinky up while I eat your pumpkin pie?
Oh, 100% you do. And you got to eat it with a tiny fork.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You'll never finish it because the amount of whipped cream I put on top is as thick as the pumpkin stuff in it. That's why I'm gonna win. And it told me to put 2 tablespoons of bourbon while I was making my whipped cream. Whoa, bro. I'm telling you right now, you're thinking bourbon. I know you're thinking in your head right now, Adam. I hate liquor. I hate bourbon. Whole milk whipped so hard that you turn it over and it doesn't fall out of the thing. That's how you make whipped cream. Sugar and a little bit of bourbon. Oh my God, it's amazing. It's the best whipped cream I've ever had in my life.
All right, will you bring a tiny fork from your parents' junk drawer?
Right now, you go upstairs before you leave, and you're gonna take a little bit out because I made a test one yesterday, and now I've got 2 of them in the fridge for tomorrow. I got to make the whipped cream tonight after you leave to put on top of them, but they're still cooling in the fridge right now, and then I got to make the whipped cream to put on top of them. But I've got one that's made that I'm gonna have you give it a try.
I'm gonna need a full report, Adam.
Say what?
I'm gonna need a full report.
You know what I was thinking was when I was on my way over here, I was like, this was the night that we should have brought Andre into the studio because we're all off work tomorrow. I messed that up. I should have said something.
Because we could have done it early for sure. I mean, I didn't do anything today. We could have done this. I told Aaron, I was like, hey, we're going to do it early at 9. She was like, oh, you guys could come over. They can come over now. Like, come over now.
Oh.
It was like 6 o'clock. I was like, well, if I'd have known that.
Well,
Man,
speaking of that,
pumpkin pie right now. This is bull.
There you go. Speaking of that, we're going to get Andre out of here before 11 o'clock for the first time ever on a day that he doesn't have to work tomorrow.
Not much before. We still made this last long.
Yeah, we did. Yes. So we thank you as always. We always have our best episodes when you're on talking Bengals, talking everything else. happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.
Same to you all.
And that's it. Oh, and happy and Merry Christmas too, because you will come on after probably
yeah.
at the end of the season.
Yeah.
For
And
sure.
either you will be wearing red and black, you will be wearing blue and gray. He will be wearing red and black. One of you will be singing possibly, and
All good
that's
things.
it. That's when we're
All
gonna
good things.
I love it.
All right, boys.
Wait.
Appreciate y'all.
Thank you, Andre.
See you soon.
See you.
See you, bub.
All right.
Andre Edwards, ladies and gentlemen, the man, the myth, and the legend. We kept him on for a long time.
We did.
That was a long one. You know what though? Here's the
So.
deal. I don't feel like I hate doing that to people. Andre's come back like 7, 8, 9 times.
Yeah.
He knows what he's getting into, and he still does it.
Yeah.
What a great guy, dude. Like to give us that amount of time and to listen to me act like I know what I'm talking about stuff and then shoot it right back out. I love that. The man knows. He knows he lives and breathes Cincinnati sports, especially the Bengals.
Yeah.
I'm sure if I was a UC fan, we could really get in depth in some UC basketball.
Sure.
I'm not. You are not. I'm not saying you're not like a deep in. I'm saying
I'm
you're not
kind
a
of
fan of it.
neutral-
Yeah, you're a neutral guy, but you're not following UC on a daily basis to know who's on the team and all that stuff.
I don't know who the recruits are and stuff like that, but yeah.
I don't know Xavier's recruits. I can't do that. You know, Xavier doesn't have a freshman on the did I talk about this the other day?
I think we've talked about it. I feel like there are a bunch of that's what I was going to mention that too when we were talking about that rivalry. Is it ever really going to be the kind of rivalry it used to be? Because with people transferring so much every year, bringing in transfers more than you're recruiting high school kids now, and you know, and then as long as you don't have Cincinnati kids on either team,
Doesn't matter. Here's the deal. When you're a coach at UC or Xavier, you have that week of crosstown shootout or those 4 practices or 3 days or whatever it is between games.
Mm-hmm.
Even leading up to it, you're probably talking about it. It doesn't matter how you feel or if you get it when you walk in to the arena on crosstown shootout night. You feel different. It's a different at the Cintas Center on crosstown shootout night. It's a different feel in that joint.
That's true. I guess the fans will always carry the.
And when the fans are going bananas and you're in college and you're 20 to 23, 20, or Zach Fremantle and Hunter's case where you're 29, 32, you feel that, dude. You feel all that and your energy gets up and things get more physical and it just naturally happens whether you get it or not. We've had kids that have transferred in at Xavier and they're like, they've came to the press conference afterwards and said, we talked about this all week, but you don't know until you play this game. The crowd is in the stadium. They talk about the energy all the time. And they're all Xavier teams and the kids. Like I've heard so many kids talk about the energy in the Cintas Center and, you know, for years on big games. Oh man, the fans brought it tonight. The energy was there. They feed off that. For sure, feed off that.
Yeah.
So that is like, I mean, we've got what, 3 guys that'll play in this game that have played in a crosstown shootout before, which is more than last year. Last year we had 1. We have 3 guys that have played in this before, and they're going to tell these dudes what it is. But for the next few years going down the road, that's just what it's going to be. Like Xavier, UC, teams like that. You're just picking up really good juniors and seniors from smaller D1 schools that have turned a corner. And you're picking them up because they might have been close to being good D1 recruits, and now they are. And you're bringing them in. You're bringing the best players off these lower D1 teams into your school, and they're gelling. Try to get them to gel for that season. That's what this is going to be. It's basically one and done freshman Kentucky basketball, but with a little bit older kids. That's basically what you're getting.
Yeah.
So they're not gonna understand it, but when they hit that floor, dude, the kids get it. The kids get it like that. And especially with UC and Xavier, because in the off season, like if you're playing pickup ball or if you're playing in some kind of summer league, anything like that, you're playing locally, you're playing with each other. Like you're going to be playing with those kids.
Yeah. Yep, that's true. um, you're right. And we will we'll cover more of that crosstown shootout in a couple weeks here. But my question for you about that is, do you think Adrienne Iapalucci has any idea about the crosstown shootout?
I'm gonna say that she's never been to a live basketball game.
Oh. I have no idea. I have no idea what the answer is, but
I don't
grew
either.
up in New York, to grow up in New York and not go to a Knicks game in the
Bronx. She's from the Bronx, she said, right?
yeah,
Oh, in the Gardens.
yeah, Madison Square
I was
Garden.
trying to figure out what you were saying there. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it seems like that would be hard to do almost. Is never good. But no, you know what? That's not true, because there are people who grow up here in Cincinnati and never go to a Reds game or a Bengals game, I
Yep.
guess. Okay. Nevertheless,
Let's talk about her.
she did go to the Comedy Cellar where she filmed her special, The Dark Queen.
Ari Shafir introduced her and as the Dark Queen. And I think she lived up to her nickname.
Yeah, I agree.
This might be, I don't know how to describe it. Whatever it is, it's the most of that we've ever watched.
Like the darkest special, you
I
think?
don't know that dark is the right word, but maybe it is. Maybe it is. I don't know. It doesn't care about anything. She's like, you talk about people stepping over the line. Like she took as many political stances and just jumped on every side of it. No Republican, Democrat, no side. Like she just jumped all the way over it and said some of the most outlandish, craziest stuff you've ever heard. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't laugh out loud, but I got, there's a little like, all right, you should be able to laugh at this. You should be able to find a joke in it. People talk about you should be able to find a joke in anything. She talked about some stuff with little kids for a while.
Yeah.
And kept it going. Like she didn't just throw a joke out there and stop about the Epstein stuff. She held on to it and found a couple different angles to get into it.
Yep.
Woo. It was something.
Yeah, it was. It was something. I agree with all of that. It was kind of I'm trying to I keep trying to think of like compare her to somebody else like that.
She's as original. That's pretty original.
There are a lot of people that will do, kind of controversial stuff, daring stuff, but yeah, she's really, as a matter of fact, the guy that we're gonna watch next week, is probably the closest that I could think of, that she could come to, I think, as far as the dark material. I just realized one of those.
So happy you're doing that.
One of those Taylor
is right over here. She uses it all the time. She uses it all the time. The fabric measuring tape.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm so glad you're picking that because I was going to pick it in 2 weeks if you didn't.
Okay.
Probably no, without a doubt. I'll give you that her type of comedy definitely resembles Anthony Jeselnik, except for the one-liner stuff. She steps over the line, but she gets over the line and holds it and tells two more jokes on top of it.
Yeah.
Right? Jeselnik's got a lot of these one-liners, and not one-liners, but they're short jokes, right? He does a lot of, my nephew is so and so, and da ba da ba da, and then that's the joke, and he goes to the next one. You're right. I think that this is going to be two pretty dark ones back to back. I assume that's who you're talking about.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, but she was, I think that's why she has so much respect from a lot of other comedians. I hear a lot of other comedians talk about her, and I think it's because of that, because they all kind of admire that she's, throwing it back a little bit. She's not afraid to, if anybody wants to reach out to the media and say, look at the
Look at
jokes
what
this
she
lady's doing.
just said.
It doesn't matter.
No.
It's not going to hurt her.
It's not going to stop her.
no, it's not.
No.
It's and that's kind of neat. And you're right to be able to kind of get pretty risky and then get a little more risky and then get a little more risky again
Yeah.
on the same
Yeah.
thing. That's pretty. First of all, it's very impressive to be able to do that at all. And then yeah, and it's kind of fun. It's not like, I think we kind of talk about how dirty people are a lot of times, and it's the cleaner comics are sometimes a little bit more fun because it's more lighthearted and you don't have to worry about who's around when you're seeing it and that kind of thing. And but we also love dark humor. We also love comedians that are really good about
Yeah.
doing dirty jokes, but doing them really well, where it's
Yeah.
not just shock value, it's
Yeah.
funny and shocking.
Yeah.
And I think she did a pretty good job with that.
I'll tell you, if you go off the reaction of the Comedy Cellar, she killed.
Yeah.
I mean, there were a couple, right, where she got some, okay.
Yeah.
And you're like, it is what it is. But for the most part, it's the delayed laugh where a couple people laugh and then everybody's like, okay, well, we're laughing at, yeah, that is really funny. You know what I mean? I love that, to hear that little bit of a delay and then a hard laugh, because everybody's kind of looking like, and then somebody laughs and then another person laughs and now we're good.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. It feels like a show that is coming out of their politically correct self for that hour.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, so I have a score written down for me. I would like to know.
I'll go first.
Okay.
I went with a 3 even.
Oh.
Is that low? I feel like you think it's low. You're going to be higher. I went with a 3 even because not to say like she's good. What she did was good. She never towed the line. She stayed on the other side of it the whole time. I love that. But I never like out loud laughed. I didn't have any of those big out loud. This is a thinking comedian. And some of the stuff, I'm not going to lie, was over my head. And I hate to say that, but I don't know the sides of Israel and Gaza or any of that. I don't know what side is what, or who's for the Jews and who's not. I don't understand any of it.
Same for me.
So, some of that went over my head. I just never laughed. I never out loud laughed. I smiled the whole time, maybe a small little giggle or something, but never laughed out loud. So I'm going to go with 3. I could probably go 3-2, but somewhere in that 3 to 3-2 range, I'll just stick with 3 because that was my first impression.
Okay.
Which is good. I always say if I go 3 or above, I suggest watching it.
Sure. Okay. I had a 3.8.
Okay. You're high. Yeah, good.
It's pretty high. I did laugh out loud a couple times, maybe 2 or 3 times. And, and then there were a bunch of other jokes like you that you just kind of appreciated how good the joke was.
Absolutely.
And then, yes, there were some, that was really my only thing I didn't love was all the stuff about Israel and Palestine and Hamas and all that, because I don't
understand it. And that makes it tough, right? That she's a smart person's comedian.
Yeah.
No joke. I mean, that for real, like she's a smart person's. If you like comedy and you're a smart person, I bet you love her.
Yeah.
As long as you can let go, as long as you're not I want to cancel everybody the second they say something wrong. If you're cool with letting go and understanding it's comedy club and you're a smart person and you get that stuff, you'd love this. This would be unbelievable for you.
Yeah. Yep. I think she's good. And so, yeah, 3.8 for me. So, we're averaging right in the middle 3s there. And that's really good.
Absolutely.
And again, because we don't always say this, but in case you're watching for the first time, it's out of 5.
Oh yeah,
it's
out
out
of 5.
10.
Not out of 10. It's out of 5.
It's out of 5.
Out of 5.
It's how many ha's. So ha 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 for him, ha 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 for me.
Yes.
And that's it. Adrienne
Absolutely.
Iapalucci.
There you go.
All right.
So next week,
Anthony Jeselnik. It's called Bones and All. Just came out on Netflix. He's he doesn't do the make the rounds, the podcast rounds, really. He's even talked about that because he just doesn't love that stuff. But he has been on like 2 or 3 that I've seen this week, and I did watch one of them, and it was cool. It was, he's not the kind of comedian that goes on to a podcast and it's all about trying to get laughs on the podcast.
Yeah.
He will talk about comedy a lot and answer all the questions and talk about all the things he's done in comedy and all that kind of thing. Um, but he's not trying to like crack jokes and riff with people a lot. Which is weird because when you watch it, I mean, he's trying to shock you and make you laugh. And I don't expect anything different in this one.
Yeah.
So
I'm excited. He's really good at what he does.
yeah.
He's really good at what he does. And my favorite thing about Jesselnick, sorry, I was texting Andre. He texted us. You might have said this while you're just saying that. But my favorite thing about Anthony Jeselnik is he starts a joke and you know how disturbing his mind is.
Yeah.
So you've got a good idea where it's going, and he steps over top of that.
He tricks you.
And it's insane to be that outlandish, start a joke and everybody go, oh, I know where this is going, and get somewhere else that's even crazier.
Yeah.
Is awesome.
The kid's not just dead, his body is burned and he ate some of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's whoa, okay, here we are.
Yeah.
For sure. For sure.
Yep. All right. So I'm excited. A really good one that we already know is very good with a new one out, and that's gonna be I can't wait. That's gonna be something I do over the weekend or probably early next week, and I'm looking forward to it.
It's gonna be good. Yeah, it's gonna be good. Very exciting. All right. So that comes to me, right?
Yeah.
Junk drawer items. That was so good. That was really good. That was really
Thank
good.
you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
That was a lot of fun to talk about.
It was.
We always like to take trips down memory lane.
Yes. Yes, we do. So, all right, let's keep this in-house because I'm going to try next week. Let me look at let me just take a look at something. Andre said he can't believe that we didn't talk about, and he sent a picture of him on stage with the Boys to Men concert. So I had to let him know that we talked about it last time. He was on.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Xavier plays on Tuesday at the Cintas Center and then Saturday at UC. I may try to get Adam Baum on here.
Oh yeah.
So he's on the Sean Miller podcast now. A good Mount Rushmore for him might be Mount Rushmore of elder high school teachers.
Oh, okay.
As an elder high school grad himself,
Yeah.
why not?
Yep.
I like it.
This will not be for most of our
No,
it will be for some
this will be for some of our audience for sure.
most of our
Yeah,
audience.
absolutely. And it's okay if you don't know it.
Yeah.
It's the very last thing we do. So not the very last, but the second last
Close
thing we
to
do.
it. Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay if it's not for
skip
you.
over it, or
Yeah.
you can look these people up on Facebook or Google or whatever.
Absolutely.
If you
You
want
can Google them. I've got one in my head right now.
Some of them might be deceased. I don't know.
Yeah, mine is this number one guy is.
Oh
yeah.
okay.
You know, number one. You got a good story about old Joe Vannoli.
Oh man.
Love Joe Vannoli.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so regardless whether Adam's on or not, we're doing elder high school.
But
teachers.
if he is on, it'll
It'll
still
be
be fun.
perfect.
It'll still be
That's-
fun.
that's
It'll
a
fit
very-
in with him, right?
That's a great
fit in
idea.
with him. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Good job. That's a Paul Witt E up there. Paul Witt finger threaded on some nails in E, and that's what I looked up, and that's what I came up
I
with.
love that. I have one of those too.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, there you go. I got in the X. It looks a lot like this X right behind me. If you're on the YouTube.
And the Reds one.
Oh, and the Reds one behind that. So if you are going to be with us next week, we will have the Mount Rushmore of elder high school teachers. And we will have Anthony Jeselnik, which is what's the name of it?
Bones and all.
Bones and all. Bones and all. Till next week, don't forget to turn your headlights on.